and this is Sherexmykes, and I am here with Absyte. I have been waiting for this interview pretty much since you said yes to it. So, I just wanted to tell you that, especially after I saw the video and listened to the song. I've been waiting for this. All right.
Cool. That's what's up.
All right, so I got a few questions. Of course, you know I did my best to go ahead and do some research on you, so I know what to ask.
That's what's
All right. All right, so first, well, I'm going to instead of me telling everyone about you, I'm going to let you talk about yourself for a little bit. So introduce yourself, say where you're from, how long you've been in the music business, because you already told me that just a few seconds ago, but everybody else needs to know.
Right. Well, I would say I'm an old lady. I've been doing music on the side for about 22 years. 2016 actually makes the 22nd year. I've always kind of been considered, kind of conscious in my objectivity when I write songs. So, that my passion is to try to take really difficult subjects and make them palatable to different ears. So during the day, I guess since about 1999, I've been doing IT. So I have a real job, and I work really, really hard. I also have a small business doing the same thing, consulting and so forth. And so I've never let the passion of music die. It's just that the music industry at different states is, to say the least, it's a dirty game.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's tough, and it's a lot of competition too.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the competition. I think, I try to study the craft in the way that, I excel no matter what type of competition. And I think my business acumen has actually made me able to deal with the level of competition, but the lack of business acumen and knowledge of the music business and how it goes kind of lends to this unnecessary ignorance that's present in the game, and that leads to some of the dirtiness that I spoke of.
Right. That's what's up. Now, see, my second question for you is, what has this past year been like for you as far as like some of the experiences that you've had?
Well, it's been a whirlwind. I actually made a decision last year in 2015 to respond to some of the absolute insanity that I felt was happening in our society. I felt like, I didn't have to start trying to publicly do music. I could have stayed underground and just let it bubble underground. But with the deaths of so many African Americans and Hispanic Americans, like Sandra Bland and Eric Garner, I wondered, as an IT professional who had a comfortable life, was I doing enough as an African American to actually respond to, and add my voice to the discussion. So this year has been a culmination of, I did the mixtape in 90 days. I treated it like it was a project, and I executed upon it, and I lucked up and got with some really great people, Steve Migliore, the Hit Mill in New Jersey, and other really great producers, Cleo Butter Pro, Winters, just some really great people that came together that kind of saw my vision for the type of music. And I kind of knew going in that, this wasn't going to be a record deal signing thing. It was just really me getting the opportunity to lend my voice to some of the problems that I had seen, and and speak on some subjects that really, are forbidden for us to speak on.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you the truth. You actually already hitting on some of the questions I'm going to ask you.
Well, that's what my 2016 year has been. I got an opportunity to, perform at South by Southwest just recently, and I did some performances in New York. So it's been a nice little start of the year. It's been a crazy 90 to 120 days.
Yeah. It sounds like you had a really interesting 120 days.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I would just say this. Some of my favorite rappers, because I know you're from Chicago.
Yeah.
So some of my favorite rappers are from Chicago. So, I mean, I guess you could say it's kind of a mix, because I listen to everything from, like, out of Chicago, I listen to everything from, like, Common to Rhymes to Lil Bibby to Katie Got Fans.
Yeah.
I kind of, something everybody,
Don't forget about Jeezy and my girl. Yeah, she's cold. I just wanted to mention her, make sure she got in there, too.
All right. But, so my question is for you, I guess, what makes you stand out from the rest that are coming out of Chicago?
Great question. Really nothing. One of the things that's unknown about Chicago is that Chicago has been percolating with this what I'll call a pot of water of talent for the last, I'd say, 40 years. And hip-hop is 42 years old. And I think, the origins of hip-hop being from, the South Bronx, I really don't think that New York understood the explosion that occurred from the voices of those kids that were in the South Bronx and how they felt, and being under the Reagan administration and the desolation that they felt watching their neighborhoods crumble. Well, that same desolation was happening from Watts in California to Chicago in the Midwest down to Houston, Texas. And each one of these sectors, whether you're in Atlanta or like I said, you're in Texas or you're in Seattle, they have these pockets of people that are speaking to the troubles in their area. And Chicago's no different. Chicago's one of those machine towns. So you're regulated by the hand of someone else. And so there's a diverse market. There's always actually been a diverse musical market in Chicago. Many of the great musicians like Quincy Jones and so forth would actually come to the Mag Mile, or what we call the Magnificent Mile, because there was record companies all up and down, and studios all up and down that Magnificent Mile, and a lot of jazz artists and blues artists, which still percolate to this day, came from there. So hip-hop was no different. When I was coming up, there were people like Ann 13. I went to high school with her, and I didn't know how extraordinary she was when I was in high school. But as time went on and I started to nurture and mature my gift of writing and dealing with hip-hop, Ann 13 was one of the people that really, kind of came to my aid and said, well, let me show you a couple of things. So for me, unfortunately, I'm not going to give you the commercial statement of what makes me better. I really look at Chicago hip-hop as being the backbone of my existence, who I am, and being as fearless as I am. There's MCs like Drunken Monkey and Monsoon, DJ Aloe, Greenweeds. I mean, the list is so crazy that somebody's going to be mad. Sam I Am. There's going to be so many people that are going to be mad that I didn't mention them, because we all grew off of each other, and there is no best. There's just us.
I agree. Because I kind of feel like now, kind of going along with what you said earlier, like, I feel like kind of drill music.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's coming from, like, the same thing as, like, you know, especially, like, from, like, when you were saying, like, when hip-hop started in the Bronx, New York, and, you know, Watts in the West Coast, it's coming from that desolation.
Right. Yeah.
So the next question I have for you, especially after I saw the Aftermath video, because to me, you definitely have a message, and you spread that message for just having a sharp flow. I call it a guillotine flow. It's just a really sharp flow.
Thank you. Wow. Okay.
And knowing, you know, that most of the time we hear about Chicago, especially for somebody that's, you know, that's never been, like for me, I've never been to Chicago. Well, I think I stopped at O'Hare Airport for a layover, but that was about it. But somebody that's from the outside looking in, you know, most of the time we hear about the gang violence and all that. So that made me kind of wonder, what are some of the things that you've done as far as like events and through music that, you know, of course, like especially with the Aftermath video, that spread the message against the violence?
Well, you know, that's an in-depth question that I'll try to condense, keep it fairly short. The Aftermath video, like I said, was a reaction to the fact that every time it got warm or every time I looked around, you know, 50 people shot in 40 hours. I actually left Chicago to pursue a job in 2012, and it seemed like it was right at the right time. I had been volunteering for the president in his campaign, and after he won in 2008, I kept volunteering. And so I remember when I got the job in 2012, I left, and right when the inauguration was happening, there was this little shorty, and I don't want to mess up her name, but I think it was Hadiah Pendleton. And I literally watched this little girl march with her marching band at the president's inauguration, and then when she got back home, she was shot dead. And and not only was she shot dead, but it was a block away from where I used to live, right before I moved. And it was chilling to me and my daughter, because when we heard about the news story, we kept looking at the news story like, man, that's my neighborhood. And then they would go back and they talked about the exact location, and I put two and two together. I'm like, man, that's literally a block from my crib. And so I thought in my mind, I said, that could have been my child. And so Aftermath is really, for me, a plea to not the people that had been working to stop the violence, like the preachers and the you know, the community service workers and the social workers and the mothers and the fathers who have lost people. Is really talking to these motherfuckers that shoot. I want to talk to them, because they don't understand. And you can't keep using excuses as to why you killing each other on the street. The killing on the street is only going to come to an end unless you stop it. It's not going to come from nobody else. So Aftermath is telling the story of a young man, and it's a story I done heard from friends, from people I don't know. They say, well, man, you know, I had to do what I had to do. I had to go, you know what I'm saying, sell these packs, and I had to go, you know, do what I had to do. And yeah, I might have sold something to my uncle and a couple of family members, but I got to, you know, feed my mama. And what they don't realize is that...
Really, for me, I wish there were more rappers like you.
Well, I mean, there are actually now. There are a lot of people, like, I'll give you an example. A lot of people don't think about Travis Scott as a conscious MC, but I do. Because if you look at his video, Upper Echelon, that video is extraordinary. And it ties back the semblance of what he talks about in Antidote, why these brothers are on this and why they gravitate to this light. And if you go back and watch the video, he's showing you actually the same neck of the woods where they hustling is the same neck of the woods where slaves used to run away. So there's a lot of artists like Common and you know, other artists that are coming up that are trying to press the issue and change the game. And I think that's why we're seeing it now. We're starting to see people talk less about materialism and talk more about the gravity of the time that we're in right now, because it's so serious. It's so serious right now. One last story was seeing the news report of a father who got in an argument with his baby mama, and he snatched the 3-year-old baby and got in the car and shot both of them in the head. Shot the 3-month-old baby in the head and himself.
I just saw it not too long ago too.
Yeah, you feel me? So I think people are starting to gravitate, and you're starting to see people like Diddy and a lot of other people that are starting to push positivity, because if we don't push it, this shit gonna roll off the rails, and it's not gonna stop.
Because it kind of makes you think about, you know, I don't know if you ever listened to, it was I wouldn't say it was a speech. I think it was like a hip-hop summit, and the guy from Poor Righteous Teachers was there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever saw that video where he's sitting there and he's explaining, like, you know, back in the 60s when we were putting out positive music, you know, that's when you saw things like the Black Panthers and things like that spring up, people trying to protect their community and things like that. Then, you know, you move up to the 80s and, you know, you got Public Enemy, Fight the Power and stuff like that. And then I think, you know, you hit, you know, now I think they're trying to go back to the positivity, because that's when people started actually caring, and you didn't see a lot of the stuff happening.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I want to be clear. I like some of the trill music out here, and
Me too.
I like all types of music. I want to see hip hop transition into diversity, where you got the best MCs in the game speaking about whatever they want to, but I want to have people be able to speak. Like, I want to have somebody be able to speak about doing laundry. If that's what they rap about, and they want to make some money off of rapping about laundry, then he can rap about laundry. And another person can rap about love, and another person can rap about God, and another person can rap about guns, and another person can rap about, you know, O's and hoes and all this other. You know, I just want to hear, at some point in 2015, we saw a complete oversaturation. And that's really, like, we could talk about the record companies push this, and we could talk about, you know, the artist is only making that, but they really only playing what we want to hear.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when the positive art, I remember years Common went out. He was making For Water for Chocolate and B and all this other kind of stuff, and they give him 5 mics for a couple of songs, and then that would be it. They was done with that. We want to hear about death and destruction. We want to hear about them O's. We want to hear about them, you know, running them tracks. We want to hear about that business, because people are living vicariously through a life that either you know about, you dream about, but you can't really live. And so we requesting this music, and we not requesting music soul child, right? We don't want to hear, we don't want to hear nobody preaching to us. You know, oh yeah, it sound alright, you know, but secretly they be listening to that stuff when they sad. Well, no, go to the record companies, go to the radio stations, and request just as much as you request Trey Songz, request him too. Just as much as you request this other person, request Jill Scott. Balance it out, and that's on us as the radio listener, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody
I agree with you there.
Everybody plays a part. The record companies play a part, but I done had a lot of DJs that be like, man, I be wanting to play something else, but, you know, people want to hear that. They want to turn up, so I got to play this other stuff. I don't know. That means that, you know, some of the percentage of responsibility is on us.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, what I started realizing is more people, it's like more and more, or at least the people I've been running into lately, they want to hear less cussing, less, you know, death and destruction. And because I've been asking people, like, you know, what do you want to hear? You know, as far as like music goes or whatever like that. And that's the answer I've been getting, even like a lot of the kids too. They're like, so I don't know if our tastes are changing, maybe, or if we're just done with it. We heard it enough and we're done with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just got excited about the topic. I mean, I think, you know, it's kind of like people look at church, right? There's nobody on this planet that's perfect. So sometimes when you go to church, you feel like you gotta be perfect in this life. And I think that in the 90s, in the 80s and the 90s, in the 80s it was all hip hop, break beats, you know, break dancing, B-boys, B-girls, this, and it was about the fashion, it was whatever. And then somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s, it became, even maybe before that, it became real conscious, real heavy, like Afrocentric. It became about culture, and it made certain people feel like you have to be perfect. And I think that got rejected because there were people like Ice Cube and Ice-T. You know, well before there was an NWA, there was Ice-T talking about F the police, you know. And I grew up with a police officer grandfather, so I didn't necessarily fall to that trend, but I understood his voice in that he grew up in desolation. So he didn't feel like the people that he was speaking to didn't feel like they would ever be perfect. So hearing Black Power for them was like, what? You know what I'm saying? So I think now we have an opportunity to actually open up hip hop to different voices instead of it just being one note where, you can't get on unless you're talking positive, or you can't get on unless you're talking negative. Now it has to be a balance of positive and negative, and then that way everybody will feel like they got a voice.
Yep.
They ain't gonna never be perfect.
Right. Nah, it ain't never be perfect. Everybody's got different tastes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, so on to my next question. What's your biggest motivator? Like, what makes you get up and say, I gotta go to the studio?
God and my daughter, in my life. I lost a lot of people in my family, so I lost the motivation to really give a fuck about what another person thought about me. It's really about, can I send my kid to college? Is she learning IT like I learned? If she don't want to, you know, if she don't want to do IT, is she doing something that will help her take care of herself in the future if anything happened to me? You know, my drivers for life are purely based on just living a okay life. You know, I'm seeing as much death as I saw in my own family, and then at the place that I love, which is, you know, forever will be in my heart, regardless of where I go in the world. You know, Chicago is my home, so, you know, my motivation is about life. And after you know, when you don't know the value of life, you take it for granted. So I took it for granted, you know, when I was younger, just like everybody else did. So now it's looking at the people who got, you know, comfortable things. They got a nice house, they got a hobby, you know, they, you know, go to work every day, or they own their own business and they making their little little money here and there, you know, whatever. And whether I'm looking at Kevin Hart's Instagram, or I'm looking at, like I am right now, sitting in my auntie house and looking at, you know, the flowers she planting in the backyard, That's what I care about. I care about, just being alright. Because there's so much shit out here that ain't alright.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And I definitely feel you on that, because I'm the same way. So we're definitely, I would say, kind of like-minded people.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you'd be surprised. There's 7.2 billion people on this planet, and you'd be surprised to find out that's a lot of people. That's at the end of the day, that's what they want, regardless of they racist or don't want you to come in their neighborhood. Everybody wants the same thing.
Everybody just want to be alright.
Yep.
Alright, so you mentioned your daughter. So I got 2 questions for you about her. They're good questions, though. How do you balance your music with raising a child? And if your daughter wanted to get into the music business, would you support her?
Music is a hobby, so that's that. If somebody came with the right situation, then we would see what it is. But it's not gonna overtake, my goals in life and what I'm trying to do for her, which is secure her safety and allow her to peacefully grow and get an education and figure out what she wants to do in life. She has already expressed an interest in being in television and doing music, but every kid does. If your kid watch Nickelodeon or Disney, or even if they ain't got cable and they watch I forgot what, you don't have cable. It's one of them channels. All kids want to be on TV. They want to be like, Raven Simone, and they want to be like whatever. But what I told her was that, the people that are actually in the music industry and in the film and television industry, they sacrifice a lot. So by the time you see them, they've gone through some arduous process to get there. And they've struggled and scraped, and, some people had to live with other people just to fulfill their dreams. Some people did some horrendous crap to get where they are. And other people had a great father, like Beyonce had Matthew Knowles and her mother. And so it's hard work for anybody. So I tell her, if you want to do it and you want to pursue it, you practice it. So since she was in 6th or 7th grade, she's been in the drama club and chorus. And she practices just like everybody else. But my requirement for her is, if them grades ain't right, you ain't singing nothing. Because, many artists find out quickly they have a beautiful voice, but if they don't know how to read that music contract, they dead in the water.
Yeah.
So the business comes with it, and I think that any kid, if they're thinking about getting into the music industry, they need to take it very, very seriously. They need to practice harder every single day. And while people joked at Diddy for making them kids walk to go get, that Junior's cheesecake and recite that damn song all the way there, you gotta hustle in this game. And it ain't no joke. Twista was a World Guinness Book winner in 1992, 1993. And by the time most people saw him in 2003 and 2006 with Jamie Foxx and Kanye West, they thought he was brand new. And that man had spent the last 20 years selling mixtapes on 86th Street in Chicago at nightclub after nightclub after nightclub, hustling. Doing what he had to do to get his music work out. So it's not a game, and I need her to know that.
That's definitely true. Definitely true. It's definitely not a game. All right, so let's see. Now, another question that I have for you, because I heard the mixtape, and it makes me wonder what, and the mixtape's off the chain to me, but it makes me wonder what's the next project that's coming out, or the next performance that you have.
Well, at first I had decided I was just going to release 6 songs, but then I got a really good reception off those 6 songs that are on iTunes right now. So then I decided to add more to the pot, so I released the second one with those same 6 songs with 6 additional songs. And right now I'm just going to keep recording. I think it's a possibility for me to make some type of bona fide album. That's a true reflection of maybe the 22 years that I've been doing this, and to diversify my sound. I'll never stop doing music. It'll always be that way. My next performance actually has not been arranged, because I actually, in the month of March, I traveled a lot and performed a great deal. But like I said, I got a day job. So until, if the industry want to come with the right lucrative deal, that'll be amenable to everybody, no 360s included, we'll see. But I don't, I'm gonna keep doing my thing and keep making beautiful music, because that's what I like to do.
That's what's up. Because I can't wait. Matter of fact, I'm about to. I think I listened to the 6 songs too.
Yeah, the 6 songs was the one with the black label Seasucker Season, and the Seasucker Season mixtape that was kind of like an EP style, 6 songs. And then the full mixtape is, I think, 12 songs, and it's on iTunes too. You can get it on iTunes, CD Baby. You can Google. I put it as many places as I possibly could so it can saturate, And I am going to the ASCAP conference in LA at the end of April.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna do that. But that's it. I got a full-time job, so I'm focused on my team. I'm focused on my client and making their world, good. This is what I do: enterprise program management. So I build enterprise web applications, and that's what affords me and my daughter the life we have until this music make money. I had somebody tell me not too long ago while I was on this journey, well, if you getting into the music industry and make money, honey, you in the wrong place, so ain't nobody, we always work something out, now if they want a new sound and, they're ready to explore, I think it's definitely some people I would not mind entering a deal with. Jay, if you out there, Kanye, you want to make a deal, Snoop, where you at, we can go ahead and do this. But outside of that, it is what it is. I got to keep my head on straight.
That's what's up. All right, so let's see. I got 2 more questions, but they're usually the typical questions everybody asks in the interview, which is, where can we find your music at, and if you want people to reach you, how can they contact you?
Well, you can actually contact me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr. It's some variation of Absyte, Absyte. Instagram is uwrite22, URI, T as in Tom, E as in Edward 22. My YouTube account is the THE Absyte, ABSYTE 22. And Twitter is the Absyte, same spelling. So people can hit me up, DM me, let me know what they think, or what have you. I'm not really taking that many show requests, so it has to be a really major show, a big deal. Like South by Southwest was something I had been dreaming of doing forever, for as long as I could remember. And it's not because I'm being bougie about it. It's just, I gotta, my priority is is where I work and my daughter and God. So I gotta keep focused on those things that make sense. But I'm open, you know. I'm gonna be going out to the governor's ball. I'm not performing this year, but I'm gonna go watch people perform. So those promoters and people like that, if they want to entertain a 2017, you know, gig schedule, I'm down. Just as long as it makes sense, you know, not only for my family but my pockets as well.
Well, you definitely made a fan out of me. I'm about to follow you on all your social media sites. Just so I can keep up with you.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So if you see Sherexmykes on anything, you know you got a fan. It's me. All right.
I love it. I thank you very much. And like I said earlier, my hat's off to you. My hat's off to, and I can't say her name, but it's DJ Scrooge. Is it DJ Scrooge Murder, or I'm not really sure.
DJ Scrooge McDuck.
McDuck. There we go. My apologies. Don't get mad at me, DJ Scrooge McDuck. Don't get mad at me. It's just I got a lot on my mind. But I really thank you guys, because without you, there is nothing for people like me, other than us, you know, having the passion we have. So the service you're doing is invaluable for us. It's priceless.
Yeah, because part of the reason I started the station and built the station pretty much was just because of the fact that I'm an artist too.
Yep.
And so I was like, I wanted to, okay, can I put my music on here for people to listen to it and maybe become a fan? But then I thought about it, wait a minute. I want everybody to put their music on it. I wanted to give everybody a platform. The only time I won't put somebody's music up there, like, and I might even about to stay select. So the only time I don't put somebody's music on there is if the sound quality isn't good. And then I'll even ask them, I'm like, hey, I'll help you get this sound quality right so I can play it. You know, but that's me. I'm always trying to help somebody.
And we don't have that no more. I mean, we desperately need artist development managers. We need it. It's been gone since like 1960. I mean, and somebody needs to have the bright idea to bring that back. I think, you know, some of the Coens in the world and some of the Combs in the world and some of the Simmons in the world need to really put a major investment in that, because we need people like you that's educating people so that the best music and the best quality music gets out there.
Well, that's what's up. I thank you. You made my day today.
That's what's up.
All right. Well, you're welcome. I ain't gonna hold you up too much longer. I'm really glad I did this interview with you. I hope we keep in touch with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to see some more from you.
I'm a little bit busy for work, so don't get mad at me if I can't get right back in contact with you. But absolutely, definitely, let's try to make a plan.
All right, that's what's up. All right, well, I really thank you for this interview. Matter of fact, I'm going to start working on putting it up.
Well, just hit me on one of them social networks and tell me it's up, Ab. I'm like, all right, cool, I can listen to it.
All right, that's what's up.
Cool.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful night.
All right, you do the same. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.